I was sitting in my living room for a moment, and I was going through a box that my mom had actually packed. I was going through this box, and in this box she had random items that were in it, and one of them was a newspaper, actually from the late 1970s. And as I pull out this newspaper, I started just flipping through it to be able to see what were the stories at that time. And one of the stories there was about Jimmy Carter meeting with the Saudis to talk about them increasing oil production to try to bring down the price of oil and increase access in the United States. And as I read that story, all I could think is, history is repeating itself. Literally on the weekend before, I'm watching Joe Biden travel to Saudi Arabia to go meet with them about increasing oil production and to try to bring down prices in America. I'm reading a story of Jimmy Carter doing the exact same thing in the 1970s. This is the Biden economy. This economy that we have right now of 9.1% inflation is directly tied to the Democrat policies and the things that they have passed in the past year that have dramatically increased the prices on Americans. While they talk about their benevolence, they're going to go help everyone, they're actually pushing prices up on everyone right now, and we continue to deal with energy issues now, just like we did during the Carter administration then. These are policy decisions that have been made that are affecting people in my neighborhood, in my state, in my county, in the cities in my state.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you putting this group together, and appreciate all of our guests who are with us as well. The number one concern you hear people talk about in every district I go to, not just in Southeast Louisiana where I represent, is that gas prices are too high, and they know that they shouldn't be too high. And they're too high because Joe Biden, as a candidate, said that he was going to end drilling in America, end it offshore, end it onshore, and he went after oil and gas companies in America. He also, at the same time, started begging other countries to produce our energy for us. It started with Russia. You know, before the invasion of Ukraine, we were getting more of our oil from Russia under Joe Biden, and in fact, Putin was making about $700 million a day selling his oil to America and Europe in the buildup to the Ukraine war. And so because Joe Biden shut down production in America, there's a cost to that. And the cost we feel, and especially hardworking families, lower middle income families, is the pain at the pump when they pay $4 and now $5 plus a gallon. That really is hurting families' ability to go on vacations, to go to the grocery store to buy things that are more expensive. But if you look at what it's done, it's emboldened a lot of our enemies around the world. And so there's no reason Putin should have been making all of that money. Then he turned to Iran. He's turned to Venezuela. He's getting on Air Force One. You saw him fly yesterday to the Middle East. Tomorrow he's going to be meeting with the Saudi princes, begging them to produce more oil when we can produce it here. Everybody knows that. And the real important point is no one does it better. No one does it cleaner, lower carbon footprint. If oil's made anywhere in the world, the best place to make it and produce it is in America. We should be doing more of it. I will just show this chart because I don't think it can be made enough. Again, Joe Biden's flying 5,700 miles on Air Force One, which no solar panels on the wings. It's all jet fuel to Saudi Arabia. Port Fourchon in my district is where deepwater drilling in the Gulf of Mexico emanates from. And they could produce all of the needs for America that are being unmet right there. I know some of my other colleagues from other states that produce energy, whether it's Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico. We've got the ability to produce our energy. We ought to be doing it here, not going to foreign dictators to get it there.
The newest estimate for Oklahoma is each family is paying $7,198 more this year for the exact same products they were buying last year. $7,198. Wages have not gone up for families in my state, $7,198. They're falling farther and farther behind directly because of the policies that have been put in place by this administration. And now to answer that, this administration saying our solution to inflation is going to be increased taxes, but their confidence is, well, we're only going to increase it on some Americans. Listen, if you're a business and you're dealing with 9% inflation, and then you're also tacked on let's say a 3.8% tax, where does that go? It goes to higher prices, and it literally drives the inflation even higher. So their quote-unquote solution for inflation of raising taxes is actually going to increase prices once again. They're literally working to make a bad situation worse. We've got to get them to stop the federal spending and stop proposing raising all these new taxes on it to try to get a handle on what's happening on inflation, because it's literally choking out the people in my state as they fall farther and farther behind.
Joe Biden will not work with House Republicans to fix these problems. And we've laid out a series of solutions, and he won't meet with us. Look at the agenda this week. Look at the agenda before we left for July 4th. They won't bring any bills to solve any of these problems. There is a border crisis going on in our country. That's why when you look at polling that just came out today, 64% of Democrats don't want Joe Biden to be the Democrat nominee for president in 2024. They're running away from him. But they won't work with us to fix these problems. And that's where Speaker Pelosi has failed, because she continues to double down on the far left agenda, using the House floor to carry out a real far left radical socialist agenda rather than working with us to solve real problems that are hurting, crushing, hardworking, low-income families. So we stand ready to fix these problems. When we're in the majority, we will work to fix these problems. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to call on Joe Biden to meet his promise to do better. And he's failed the American people at that. And unfortunately, they're the ones who are paying the price.